Guys, this is a special edition of Kicking It Old School with Andy Mack. Guys, we have a heavyweight fight on Saturday. We have, I mean, this is Frazier, Ali, Holyfield. This is Mike Tyson. This is Lennox Lewis. This is everything that you want in a basketball game. Xavier versus Villanova. Villanova number 2 in the country. The Xavier Musketeers number 4. Both teams projected 1 seeds. The 2 best teams and arguably the best conference in all of college basketball. The game will be at Cintas Center at 4:30. Andy, we will obviously be there. Nick Given, Greg Wichard, you will be there as well. I know that Andy and Greg will be wearing their best Xavier attire. I expect every Xavier fan to be there in their attire as well.
I'll go in white tee.
Yeah, Nick, not sure what you're going to wear.
Go white tee with a cardigan.
I'm going all black. I'm going all black Xavier gear. I got black hat. I got black jeans. I got black shoes. I am blacked out Xavier, decked out gear.
I'm going to be blacked out too.
It's time.
Yeah, I might black out as well.
We're going there for business, Andy. Business on Saturday. We're going for absolute business.
It's a huge.
Do you want me to? I'm losing my mind right now.
It's a huge heavyweight matchup. Could be, should be, the number 1 game in college basketball this weekend. The Villanova Wildcats, the 4-time defending regular season Big East champions. This is the first time in the history of the new Big East that Villanova hasn't been in first place in the league at this point of the season. The Muskies are grabbing their thunder, and Villanova and the satirically superior Jay Wright, the man, the dapper guy who he and Bill Raftery exchange bow ties. And
why is he so dapper?
He's a good-looking man. He's a good-looking fellow. What can I say?
That guy is well-dressed, man. That guy is well-dressed, and he can coach.
Oh, boy. Ooh,
he can really coach.
Recruit, he can coach. He's a darling with the media. He embraces those female sideline reporters. I mean, a lot of coaches try to like.
Andy, be careful here.
2018.
I didn't mean that.
Be careful.
I meant that platonically. I meant that verbally.
Yeah.
He embraces.
Well, still verbally sad as well.
We know how you meant it. We just want to make sure everybody else listening doesn't work in the gray area.
But a lot of those coaches blow right past those interviewers, and I got to get with my team. We've got to strategize. Jay stays there for 2 or 3 questions, and he actually makes sense. Coach Mack does a good job.
He does. Coach Mack does a great job.
He's courteous.
Jay Wright takes his time.
He does.
He's very patient.
He's reflective.
Yeah, which is good. He's a very present individual from the interviews that I see. He's a very present guy.
How about this little Jay Wright tidbit? Back in the year when they were still in the old Big East and they were playing the UC Wildcats over there at whatever the name of that place is.
Go ahead.
Fifth Third Ed Jucker Mausoleum Court. Villanova was in town, and Jay Wright knew that the new Big East was happening. He came over to check out Cintas and talk with Coach Mack and look at the facilities. And, welcome to the league. How about that?
And he is that type of guy.
He's a good dude.
He is that type of
Jay Wright fan club.
He's a good dude. I'm trying to butter this guy up so we can squash him like a grape on Saturday.
That's what you do, Andy. You build him up so you can just take him all the way down, Andy. You take him all the way down.
America loves disaster stories when their heroes are built up to a high pinnacle. Like that snowboarder, Sean White.
Did you see that run last night?
Man, that was great. That guy was unbelievable.
That was incredible.
That didn't hit in the half pipe?
Oh, it's incredible.
I heard it on the radio, but I don't think they did it justice.
No, they didn't.
It was pretty good.
You'd be a lot more excited.
Gosh.
It was like one for America. It was great.
What about the 17-year-old snowboarder?
That was excellent.
She was really good, wasn't she?
Chloe Kim. She's doing all these commercials. She's probably like
she's about to make so much money. Guys, we're not talking about the Olympics. We're talking about Xavier, Villanova. And in the previous game, Villanova won 89-65. They dominated that game. They made Xavier look pedestrian. They did. And that I couldn't believe it. I was expecting going to that game in Philadelphia that Xavier would come in ready to play. I felt like they had the talent. I felt like they had the depth to match with what Villanova has, although Villanova is very good. And I was thoroughly disappointed, as I'm sure many of our listeners were, that Xavier got completely dominated. So, Andy, what do we do? What does Coach Mack do? How does this not happen again?
Xavier 0-5 against Villanova in Philadelphia, and we made a big deal about the game was going to be at the Wells Fargo Center. We were grasping at straws. It was not at the Pavilion. It really made a big difference. Xavier lost, as you said, 89-65, and Chris Mack again brought out that line, our annual Philadelphia ass kicking, and it was appropriate. Villanova came out running flawless offense. They have a precision offense. They buried the threes. They made 12 from outside the arc. Xavier was 3 for 17. And, they got out in transition. They forced 15 Xavier turnovers. And they lead the country in offensive efficiency. Actually, they're on path to set an all-time record in points per possession, if you believe in the Ken Pomeroy stats that go back about 15 years. Nobody has played better offense than Villanova has this year, with Jalen Brunson as the leader of the pack at left-handed point guard. They call him the lawnmower because of that low dribble of his. He's unbelievable. And then the big ragu, they're calling Dante DiVincenzo. The Michael Jordan of Delaware is what Jay Wright calls him. But our buddy Gus Johnson, the play-by-play guy for Fox, calls him the Big Ragu because I guess he's of Italian heritage. Anyway, he's playing out of his mind. He dropped 30 the other day against Butler. He's into the starting lineup.
He can play.
He's going to play in the NBA, that guy. He's another like Bobby Sura.
Well, he's only a sophomore. He's 6'5". I mean, he's averaging over 14 a game, over 4 rebounds a game. I mean, DiVincenzo's a player. Now he's in the starting lineup. Now, who will not be playing in that game, who had 21 points in the opener for Villanova, is Phil Booth, which is a big loss for them and a guy that has really played well against Xavier.
Underrated, Phil Booth. He is a fourth-year junior, so he could come back for another year. He's been around for ages. And Booth I think he's their third-best player. He's very steady. Shoots the three well, great defender. He's the one who helped tie up your buddy from Oklahoma in the NCAA semis 2 years ago in Villanova.
Buddy Hield?
It was Bridges.
No one can stop Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield only stops himself.
Buddy Hield had a horrible game. Villanova just blew out Oklahoma.
You can say what you want about Phil Booth's defensive skills, but if Buddy Hield wanted 30, he would have got 30, all right? He's an NBA player. He's a stud.
Whatever.
Taking nothing away from Phil Booth, but...
Well, Booth was...
Don't talk about
Buddy Hield like that.
Booth was dynamite in that North Carolina national championship game when he dropped 20. And, he has a great assist-to-turnover ratio. He is the consummate two-guard. He will not play with a broken hand. He probably will be back for the Big East tournament. And they're also missing, possibly, that Fordham transfer who's really come on this year, Eric Paschal, in his second year... actually his third year in the Villanova system after the red shirt, following his transfer from Fordham. He has lost weight. He's sleek. He's a starter, averaging 11 and 6, I think. He took a horrendous fall in the Seton Hall game. He's been in concussion protocol. So we may see him on Saturday at Cintas against X. We may not.
Okay. Regardless of who's playing, I guarantee Villanova will execute. It's just what they do, and it's what they've done over the years. Jalen Brunson, to me, is the guy that you have to somewhat control a little bit. He can't have a game of 17, 10, and 5. So, Quentin has to do a good job on him. I think at times you put Najee Marshall on him, who could possibly bother Jalen with a little bit of length. But they're going to get good shots. That's the way that they play. They do a great job of spreading you out. When they do attack, they attack to get into the lane. And Jay Wright teaches them all to jump stop, head fake. They're always under control, very few turnovers. It's a team that you have to go out and really play well. I still like Xavier, I think, in this game. I think at the Cintas Center on Saturday, that crowd is going to be amazing. And it's honestly become my favorite game of the year, is the game against Villanova at the Cintas Center. I like the Muskies in this one, Andy. I'm sure that you do as well. I'm definitely going to get your prediction. A guy that we haven't talked about much, though, on the Villanova side, Mikal Bridges. I just want to touch on him and how good he's been this year.
He is a probable NBA lottery pick in the upcoming draft. If he decides to come out, he's got another year of eligibility, and these Villanova guys like to stay around. 6'7", he's the key guy on their three-quarter court diamond press. He's the man at the top who forces the passes to the sidelines. He's had some huge games this year. And sometimes, though, he goes silent. He averages 16 points and 6 rebounds. He has great spring. He's developed a three-point shot, but sometimes he's not that assertive. And in this game, I think Villanova is going to need to play their A game. Brunson is going to have to come up big. Bridges is going to have DiVincenzo. That's their big three. The wild card with Villanova is their defense. Omari Spellman is playing the 5 now, and he's probably the most talented 5 they've had, but he's a freshman. And he's not Daniel Ochefo. He's not Juwan Pinkston, the veteran guys they used to put down on the block who would really cement and guard the rim in their defensive scheme. So, Spellman gives you a lot of offense. He shoots the 3. He's going to play in the NBA, et cetera, et cetera. But their defense has been spotty at times. And you have to look how to beat the Villanova. You got to look at how did Butler do it? They beat him 3 straight times. How did St. John's do it about 10 days ago? And like you said, they really pressured Brunson. They gave Brunson and DiVincenzo a lot to think about. They got right up in their grill. I don't know if Xavier can do that. They're going to need, like you say, they're going to need Najee Marshall to guard either DiVincenzo or Brunson, or back and forth with both. They're going to need Gooden to really play good man-up defense in the half court, and they're going to need Scruggs. And Scruggs is physical, but sometimes he gets beat off the dribble. I don't know. It's going to be difficult, but they got to put walls around Brunson and DiVincenzo and make them take contested, difficult long twos or deep water threes with a closeout hand right in their face.
Well, and they have to do a great job rebounding, because that's where Xavier has the advantage. No second chance points for Villanova. They have to really clean up defensive rebound and attack on the offensive end. That's 4 guys attacking the offensive glass. Obviously, you put your point guard back so you don't give up a ton of transition points. But I think that's where Xavier makes up a lot of points. And since Xavier has played Villanova, Najee has been a big change on the defensive side. He's been able to guard some of the top players in the league. I think he'll be up for the challenge. I mean, Jalen Brunson is one of the best players in the country, arguably the best point guard out there right now, and a super, super talented player. So there's only so much you can do to stop him. But I like Najee's length on Brunson in this game.
The loss at Villanova triggered those lineup changes for X. Karem Cantor moved into the starting lineup. He played well at Villanova, and so did Najee. And Najee's now been used as like a Swiss Army knife defensively, guarding guards, guarding small forwards, even at times guarding larger 4 men. And the Villanova bench is good, but it's somewhat suspect. Colin Gillespie is a guard sub. He started actually the last game. Jermaine Samuels is their best freshman at 6'6", but he's not played that much because of a broken hand. He's back and available. And then Dada Cosby Roundtree at 6'8". So they're a little, those freshmen might be a little intimidated because they haven't really played that many in that many tough road venues. So, get to the Villanova bench. Get Cantor and our other big guys to pound on Spellman and their other inside guys and get them in foul trouble. And, I think the game is very winnable. Xavier has been competitive against Villanova in 3 of the 4 games at Cintas in the life of the new Big East. They beat him 2 years ago. Arcidiacono beat Xavier in the final 4-minute wars in 14 and 15. He was great. And Jenkins was great, and he's gone. Josh Hart's gone, thank God. Last year, Xavier was right with him until Trayvon Blewett tweaked an ankle again, and he didn't score in the game. So, shoulda, woulda, coulda. There are a lot of circumstances, but home court advantage, the way this team is playing, and especially if Booth and Pascal don't play, I think Xavier's got a good shot.
Well, I do think if you look at from when they played on January 10th, that first game and that loss, the way that Xavier has responded, they've won the 4 games on the road. I think they took it to heart. Yep. I think they went to Villanova expecting to win that game. They got blown out. And they came together, they talked about it, and they've won 4 straight in the Big East on the road. And where Villanova has lost players, we've talked about Booth and Pascal, who are not healthy. Pascal may play. Booth likely will be out for this one. Xavier's added depth. Xavier's added depth. They've added scoring. They've changed some things defensively. So I think if you look at both teams, I think Xavier's gotten better. I don't think Villanova is better than the team that they were a month ago.
I think the stars are lining up that Villanova is going to get better as we get into the Big East tournament season because of the return of both Pascal and Booth and the added experience to those three freshmen we just talked about. But at this point in time, Xavier is playing better. They're a deeper team, and they've got that huge home court advantage. And Chris Mack and the seniors really want to win a Big East regular season championship.
That means something. It absolutely does. It does. As a player, as a coach, for sure, and as a fan, I think you care too. You want them to win a Big East title. And now that we're getting to it, Andy, we've talked about a little bit of the X and O's. We've talked Villanova. We've talked Muskies. We know these are two ultra-talented teams that will match up on Saturday. I want to know the Andy Mack prediction.
I'm a little scared to go. If you look at history, Villanova losses, it's usually a half-court game and you hold them under 70. But I think this may be different. There's so much offensive talent here, and the juices will be running at Cintas. I think Xavier wins it 78-72.
All right. Andy, I'm going with the Xavier Musketeers as well, but I'm not going to give my prediction yet. Greg Wichert, I want your prediction on this game. I want score. I'm writing it down right now.
I'm going Xavier 84, Villanova 79.
Nick Given, where are you going? You're the one I'm very curious about as to which way that you're going to go.
Xavier 73.
Wow.
Villanova 82.
What?
Wow, 9-point victory for the Wildcats.
You usually put the team with the winning score first.
I did that for effect.
Yeah, you did.
Guys,
very dramatic.
I think it's going to be a very
drum roll.
But
please.
I want Xavier to
drum
win.
roll.
That's fine. Well, guys, I think it's going to be a back and forth battle. I think it's going to be a struggle. You're going to have the maestros on the sideline. Coach Wright and Coach Mack, they're going to be wheeling it up and drawing all their plays on the boards and doing their thing. Crowd's going to be going crazy. But at the end of the day, it's going to be J.P. McCura, Trayvon Blewett making plays down the stretch for the Xavier Musketeers. I'm having visions right now of J.P. dunking on Pascal. I'm having Trayvon Blewett hitting a shot right in front of DiVincenzo's face. I'm seeing Najee Marshall steal the ball from Jalen Brunson going all the way down, and maybe he'll do a 360 dunk with the excitement that Najee Marshall will have. Andy, Matt, Greg, Nick, I'm saying it right now. The Xavier Musketeers, they are going to beat the Villanova Wildcats on Saturday, which will propel them to win the Big East title. They win that Big East title, they'll get that conference championship. I like the Muskies 85-79. 85-79. That's final. I go one above Greg.
So you've had some sort of vision.
I've had vision. I've had dreams.
You've had a vision.
I've had dreams. I've had dreams. I'm throwing it up. I'm throwing my hands up. Don't let me down. JP, don't let me down, please. If you need to play Fortnite until 4 a.m. to get ready for this game, do what you need to do. But I need you to be prepared, JP. Please.
I think there's a kernel of brilliance in your prediction. There's a lot of emotion there, a lot of vision, whatever.
I've seen things.
You're into that metaphysical stuff.
I'm a visionary right now. I'm just, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it all happen right now.
You're actually right in that both JP and Trayvon have to play well.
They have to.
This is their moment, and I think they're going to be ready.
I'm seeing Coach Mack staring down Jay Wright that victory and give him the firmest handshake at the end. Good game, Jay.
I think everyone has
to play well. Good game, Jay. Coach Mack might break Jay Wright's hand after they get that dub.
Villanova's had enough broken hands this year. They've had Phil Booth, Samuels, and somebody else. Gillespie have all had broken hands.
And soon to be Jay Wright.
And Jay Wright will join the group.
Guys, Xavier, Villanova, all four of us will be in attendance. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there with a beer in hand. Guys, go Muskies, Xavier, Villanova, everybody in the Cincinnati area and across the country. Enjoy watching some super talented teams at the college level. And I don't know what I just said right there, but we will be back next week, and we will know the outcome of this game. For Nick Given, Greg Wichert, as well as Andy Mack, we are out of here. See ya.